1st of June 2021, a week before this video, Hypixel has introduced a new balance patch, making strength literally fucking useless, resulting in people dealing up to 4 times less damage than they did before the patch. Oh, and this update also includes White Gloom Syrup, Soap, I don't know, are commonly known as Enderman Slayer. It is already the hardest Slayer bosses by far. Combined with the new rebalance that literally puts strength to its knee by a simple formula change, it gets a lot worse because of that. Even an endgame player like 30 Varus with his 300 mil Necron set and an endgame weapon such as a Livid Dagger, he can't even kill a tier 2 boss. Okay, that was a joke by the way. 30 race is shit at the game. I'm just joking around. But yeah, with that aside, it's still pretty hard nonetheless because they also make it so that you can't one-tap the boss for the most part, because they introduced a new damage system. It's a hit-based system and not a damage number-based system. The only way to counter the hit-based system is to first carpal tunnel speedrun any percent, a bow or summon mobs, and after the hit phase is over, it's just normal damage as usual. Tier 1 is relatively easy with just hit phase and just regular hit and just all of that. But on tier 2 and plus, it introduced a new attack move, Yank Graph, which the boss would throw down a beacon and you need to touch it in order to defuse it, otherwise it would just result in death. And from tier 3, it introduced a new moveset, Nukubi Fixation. The ability would spawn a black head staring at you, dealing 800 damage per second, and will be double depending on the amount of heads. You can get rid of these heads by staring back at them, and that would be the end of it. And on tier 4, it just spawned like a spinning laser that you have to jump over, which is kinda like Tekashi Castle, and of course Fall Guys. Even with all that ability aside, these bad boys deals a lot of damage per second and have a lot of health, with tier 4s coming in at 300 million HP, and a lot lower, 66 millions on tier 3s. So in this video, I'm mainly gonna talk about tier 3 because that's the only one I can do for now. When this update was released, everything was chaotic. People are scratching for the next best new meta, and as a result, Faber Reforge became the new meta, replacing the old Withered Reforge. 1/4 Ultimate Enchant that used to cost about 2.1 million coins before the update peaked at 40 million coins, because it can double and even sometimes triple your damage output at the cost of your enchantment. Summoning weapons like Ripper Psych, Summoning Ring, not Gear, went up by a decent amount because it's really useful for hit phase and tanking the boss. And to get the maximum DPS or damage per second, a lot of players reforged the uncommon and epic talisman to strange because it's maximized a stat called attack speed. And once they successfully do that, they would get about 80% to 90% attack speed, which could be easily maxed out with the help of enrichment and beacon. And when this update was dropped, I had about 50 million coins left in my bank. That was enough to get Fabled on my giant sword, which the sword was going down before this update and immediately went back up because of the strength rebalance, making raw weapon damage very useful again, and a final destination set to help with the survivability. After I got the armor set, I couldn't do tier 3s well enough yet, so I decided to do tier 2s to level up my final destination set, and once I get to 5k kills on the set, I was able to consistently do tier 3s. And once I can do it, it just snowballed from there. Because Noosphere around this time averaged at about 10 to 15k each Noosphere. And since each tier 3s drop about 60 to 80 of them per kill, I was making about 20 to 25 mil an hour. The reason for the Noosphere price being absolutely bogus is because the new game requires a lot of Noosphere. Same with other items in the same category. And after I learned that I can make 20 million coins an hour, I went through many Amelia Watson and Ina streams, and I managed to make 200 mil, and I spent half of it on upgrading my final destination set with theming, recom, wisdom 5, and also a few talisman, and a Yeti pet, and a new sword called Whirlpool Katana, the second best sword for Enderman Slayer. Even though the Whirlpool Katana and giant swords have almost the same damage output, Mobile Katana has an ability that gives 300% ferocity against the enemy, which nearly double my damage output once activated, with a cost of a single soul flow and 200 mana, which soul flow costs about 5.5 coins for each soul flow. When I was crafting this sword, Mobile Katana costs only 30 mil, but the real money waster is one for all, which I bought for 29 mil, which was a total ripped off because the day after it dropped to 20-ish mil. But it's still fine because I made all that money back with tier 3s. Because of that significant damage boost, my record time for spawning and killing a tier 3 bosses went down from 3 minutes or so to 2 minutes, and even sometime 1 minute and a half. So I did a lot of tier 3s, and I ended up getting 11,000 kills on my final destination set, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing tier 4s until I succeed. Alright? Until I succeed. I repeat, until I succeed. If I don't, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Wait. What? 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 I won! I won! Yeah, no, I can't. And then I later learned that an atomsplit, the best sword for Enderman Slayer, is an absolute must for tier 4. Because no matter how many times I have tried, I always ran out of time and only got it to 50 million health and died. Why I haven't gotten an atomsplit, you might ask. Well, it's really simple, just, yeah, you know what I mean. But after a week of this update, nodes will drop from 15k to literally 1 to 2k each, which make the Enderman grinding useless for me at this point. Because the only valuable drop is the Judgment Core, a main component of a bow called the Terminator. A bow so good that it made Archer the class that can deal the most DPS, topping Mage, whom has always been the king of DPS since ages ago. But since the Judgment Core requires Enderman Slayer 7 and a tier 4 to be killed, I can't do any of that, so I'll just sit there and watch the Judgment price drop for now. And maybe one day I'll get my own Judgment Core, but for now, I'll just wait for the price of the atomsplit to drop under 200 mil. Because the cores are so fucking expensive, it's literally fucking quadruple in price, Jesus Christ.